Everybody talks about inflation.
Inflation is causing stress.
Inflation.
But actually, very few people understand it. Today, I'm going to be talking about why inflation is the only reason that your house is more expensive, savings are worth less, and that you actually feel that everything is more expensive. And the key part is that it's not your fault. You're not worse with money than your grandparents were or your parents were. The system is just designed to make you poorer over time. At the end of this video, I'm going to talk about how you can beat inflation, how you can protect your wealth. So stick around for that or just skip to the end, I guess. So what is inflation? Well, inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services rises, causing purchasing power to fall. Now, in simple terms, it means that the money in your pocket today will be worth less tomorrow. Now, what I want you to imagine is your grandparents. Imagine your grandparents in the 1970s. They could buy a pint of milk for just a few pence, but today it's worth around $1.50. Now, it's not the fact that milk just became a luxury. It's the fact that our money is worth less now than it was back then. Now, in the 1970s, the average house price was around £4,000. In 2025, it's over £290,000. In the year 2000, you could get a cinema ticket for £4.50. It's now over £11. And everything just seems more expensive. Years ago, you go to Primark and get a £1 top, but now it's like £5-6 for the same top. It's not that top is more expensive, it's just the value of the trade is worth less. And the Bank of England says the target for inflation is at 2%, and they value this at healthy. The reason is because it encourages spending and borrowing. But why do they want you to spend money? Well, they get to tax you on it. Now think about it. If you spend your money, the government gets to tax that money multiple times. Inflation wasn't some accident. It was designed to be this way. On screen now is the M2 money supply. Think of this as all the money in the world. Cash, savings, deposits, the whole. Now, since 2020, the UK and the US both expanded their money supply massively during COVID. This was essentially to keep economies afloat. They knew that there was going to be no economic activity because everything was shut. Now, in the US alone, 40% of all dollars were created in a 2-year period from 2020 to 2021. Governments do this for two main reasons. The first is debt repayment. If a government owes $1 trillion in debt, by inflating their currency, over the course of time, that debt becomes cheaper. The second point is to encourage spending. Governments want you to spend your money because it keeps the economy afloat. Governments don't like it when you save your money and it sits in one place for too long. They need that money to cycle through the system. The more hands or the more people it touches, the more financial products can be built off of that. Now, this is clear to see in current economic state of the UK with the potential raid on ISAs. It's also considered a hidden tax because it quietly taxes savers through the erosion of their savings. Now, when you have rampant inflation or hyperinflation, such as Zimbabwe, individuals have wheelbarrows worth of money to buy bottles of water or just basic necessities. Inflation is the single biggest impact on your financial stability. For example, houses haven't become better or worth more. Inflation has just pushed the prices up. They've become more expensive because more money is chasing the same assets. The UK average salary in 1970 was £1,600. The house was $4,000, which is 2.5 times an annual salary. The UK average annual salary today is £35,000. The average house is £290,000. This gap is the debasement of currency and inflation working against you. Let's say, for example, you have £10,000 left in a savings account, and that savings account earns you 2% interest a year. If inflation is at 5%, by the 10-year mark, that £10,000 only buys you £8,000 worth of goods. And at 10% inflation, like in 2022, your savings are cut in half in 7.5 years. There is also the investment illusion. If your ETF returns you 12% a year like the S&P 500, but inflation is at 6%, in real terms, you've only earned 6% for that year. Now, nominal returns sound good, but it's the actual return you're looking for. A return is only as good after you account for inflation. Lastly is purchasing power collapse. In the 1970s, a pound is now worth £12 today. This isn't accidental, this is by design. Governments want the erosion of money over time because it rebalances their debt and it forces individuals like me and you to spend our money. Those with investments such as businesses, stocks, gold, housing, they're the ones that benefit from inflation. But those on the other end with only cash in a savings account, they're the ones that get burnt. We can see this hollowing out of the middle class. On one end, you've got the poor, and on the other end, you've got the rich. That gap is becoming increasingly bigger. The middle class are slowly being squeezed out of stagnant wages and increasing costs. Over the long term, the the pound has lost 99% of its purchasing power since the 1900s. And since 1913, the US dollar has lost 95% of its purchasing power. But how do you beat inflation? And this is the point that is probably the most important in the video, because there is hope. This is the golden goose. This is the secret tip. This is how you outpace inflation. Number one, you can't sit on cash long term. Cash should always be viewed as a short-term safety net for spending. It should never be used for long-term storage. This is why you have to own productive assets. Use that cash to buy things that grow over time. This is the mindset shift. It goes from owning cash and holding on to cash to owning things that outpace inflation. You might only outpace inflation by 5 or 10%. But that's better than it sitting in the bank and being eroded away. Don't think that 100K in the bank is safe. Think, what will 100K in 10 years buy me? Inflation isn't your fault. It's been set up by design from the system. It helps governments to refinance their debt. It allows for the spending of money within an economy. But if you want the hard truth of how you're going to become wealthy, you have to build something or invest in something that outpaces inflation. The wealthy have been playing this game for years. You can protect your savings, you can grow your wealth, and you can stop getting poorer in real terms. Now I want to leave you with one thing. If you've made it to this part of the video, you've earned the secret tip. And this isn't financial advice. This is purely what has happened over the last 13 years. I'm going to leave you with one chart, and I think it's one of the most important charts within the modern age. It showcases different levels of investments across all different areas and all different industries, but there is one outlier. Some people might think it's a fad, but I believe it's the future.